Good morning. We are talking about the 90s. Transportation. I'm going to start with some curiosities of aviation. For example, the 90s people could change the name of their tickets at no cost and at any time. Dinner was served with metal cutlery and real glassware. Free liquor was also offered during the flight. Now, this privilege is only available to first class. Until the early 2000s, it was common for people to bring their fellow travelers to the gate, and it's one of the things we miss the most about flying at the time. Get off the plane and see that special someone waiting for you, or be able to be together as long as possible before takeoff, and then say goodbye to them from the plane window. Those times were more reliable. Now, there are rules that don't allow this to be done. There is one thing we didn't miss. However, smoking was possible on airplanes. We continue talking about aviation. There is something that I found interesting. Even though the GPS existed, it wasn't used for commercial flights. So United States reached an agreement with Fiji to carry out the test. It was then in April 1994 Fiji officially became the first country in the world to incorporate GPS into your navigation system. Automotive industry. Like food, music, or literature, each country expresses identify with its cars. These were the main models that these companies manufactured. However, General Motors made the difference. General Motors was the first of the great manufacturers to commercially dare with an electric car, the FV1. It was actually a pilot test where only customers in California, Arizona, and Georgia could lease the EV1 through dealers. Manufacturing of the EV1 began in 1996. Until 2003, only 1,117 units were manufactured. Maybe many people saw it as a failure, but I think the world wasn't prepared for that type of car. Rail transportation. Regarding rail transport, one of the most important companies was Amtrak. They provide their services in the main states of the country, but in 1999, after a 12 years absence, Amtrak reintroduced passenger service in Oklahoma. I'm going to show you a video about the accommodation and services. Okay, sports. USA has always been characterized by its love of sports. Different tournaments are at different times of the year. In the 90s, the main sports were basketball, baseball, and football. Football is not an Olympic sport. There are different bowls and important games, such as the biggest game in football history, the Super Bowl. In the 90s, one team really dominated in Super Bowl for 3 different years in the decade. The Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys won in 1992, 93, and 96. American football is still played today, but is played with more protective gear, such as shoulder pads, pads, and more advanced cleats to grab the ground or turf that they play on. Basketball. Basketball is still a very popular sport in the United States. Basketball was a big in the 90s Olympics. The men's Olympic basketball team, otherwise known as the Dream Team, won gold in Barcelona in 1992. The Chicago Bulls were on fire in the 90s. Michael Jordan led this team to winning 6 titles in the years 91, 92, 93, 96, 97, and 1998. They played in a professional association, the NBA, or otherwise known as the National Basketball Association. By acclamation, Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time, a phenomenal athlete with a unique combination of fundamental soundnesses, grace, speed, power, artistry, improvisational ability, and an unquenchable competitive desire. Jordan single-handedly redefined the NBA superstar. I have to say that I'm his fan. I love basketball. Baseball. There were some events in the baseball world in the 90s. There was a player called Nolan Ryan. He threw his sixth career no-hitter for the Texas Rangers on June 11 at age 43. Ryan was of the record 9 no-hitters through in the 1990. Cecil Fielder of Detroit Tigers became the first American League player to hit 50 home runs in a season. History was also made in Seattle, where Ken Griffey Sr. and Jr. became the first father-son combination to play in the majors on the same team in the same game. This table shows the winner of the decade. The Yankees are the winner, and today they are the team with the most titles, 27. Now, invention and events. Microsoft. I want to go back a bit in history, just to remember that this company was founded by Bill Gates and Paul Allen in 1975